you have to start small. You also have to get people to try it. A lot of people make a mistake in business. They think, okay, I have money. I'm going to pay a manufacturer to make a bunch of protein bars, and they don't have people try it.
Somebody out there who is uncertain about their life purpose. They don't know what their purpose is.
Keep looking, keep searching. Listen, everyone has that, I call it that boyhood dream or young girl dream of what you thought about when you were a kid, what you wanted to do.
Why do people have so much self-doubt and they don't believe generally in themselves?
As you succeed, I sometimes, even when I post things, I wonder, some of my best friends don't comment on my posts, but random strangers do. Will say, oh my God, that was fascinating. Thank you for inspiring me. But then some of my close friends will be like, oh, you misspelled this word.
I have a great guest today in the studio. He is a billion-dollar brand builder, entrepreneur, very successful person at everything that he does, Bruce Cardenas. Bruce's journey spans from the United States Marines to the LAPD. He still serves as a Level 1 reserve for the LA County Sheriff's Department. Bruce then embarked on his entrepreneurial path by founding a high-level personal protection business, protecting some of the biggest names in entertainment and business over the past 30 years. Founders of Quest Nutrition led Bruce to become an entrepreneur within the startup, ultimately rising to the Chief Communications Officer. He played an instrumental role in the billion-dollar sale of Quest Nutrition. He's on board of several companies. He's also an investor and actively supports several charities. If you can send a message that everyone would receive on this planet, what would it say?
I use this word, and a lot of companies should be like this. We and I became obsessed with our customers.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Live with Purpose. I'm Anna Lawson, your host, and we created this show to empower you and be by your side on this journey of discovering your true purpose and true calling in life. I believe that most people suffer because they're not really in alignment with their true nature. They don't live in alignment with their deepest heart's desires, and they don't feel expressed in what they do daily. They tend to please their parents' dreams or their spouse's dreams and people around them, but they do not ask themselves, what do I want? What is my purpose? Why am I here on the planet Earth? And what are my strengths that I can share with the world and make the entire world a better place by sharing these gifts with everyone and adding value on an everyday basis. So we are here to encourage you to be on this journey, which can be very challenging, but it's worth it. I have a great guest today in the studio. He is a billion-dollar brand builder, entrepreneur, very successful person at everything that he does, Bruce Cardenas. Bruce's journey spans from the United States Marines to the LAPD. He still serves as a Level 1 reserve for the LA County Sheriff's Department. Bruce then embarked on his entrepreneurial path by founding a high-level personal protection business, protecting some of the biggest names in entertainment and business over the past 30 years. Founders of Quest Nutrition led Bruce to become an entrepreneur within the startup, ultimately rising to the Chief Communications Officer. He played an instrumental role in the billion-dollar sale of Quest Nutrition. He's on board of several companies. He's also an investor and actively supports several charities. Bruce, so great to have you here in the studio. I'm so honored to be here with you today.
Thank you for having me. I'm honored.
Okay, so for the audience that doesn't know your journey, tell us a little bit how you started and how you ended up in Los Angeles.
Depends how far we want to go back, but I really had I grew up in a very small town of 2,000 people, working class family. And, sadly, my mother was an alcoholic and my father was a workaholic, but I had a boyhood dream about being a police officer. And when I was in high school, the police department was a 5-man department. They would let me do ride-alongs. And when I got out of high school, I approached the chief and said, hey, I'm ready. I want to join the department. And in his own kind words, he said, you're young, dumb, and immature.
It's
and he
good
said,
to be honest.
Yeah. I don't think he called me dumb, but that's how I felt. And he said, but if you go in the Marine Corps, he didn't mention anything else, go in the Marine Corps, I'll hire you when you get out. Obviously, he knew something I didn't know. And I ended up going to the Marine Corps. I grabbed my best friend, went to the Marine Corps, and that opened up the world. I literally never went back to New Jersey after I realized there was a big world out here, and I discovered a lot of things, had a lot of great assignments, and dream come true. I ended up in LA, not where I thought I was going to be a cop, but I ended up in LA and joined the LAPD, and that started my journey.
So it is such a long road from being a LA cop and working for the police department to being a brand builder, billion-dollar brand builder. So tell us to some extent how that happened, that transition.
I think, well, I've always been, I didn't have a word for it back then, but I've always been a servant leader. I've always served other people. And as I talked earlier, I started a protection business, bodyguard business, to make extra money. I worked for someone else. And then I had this entrepreneurial bug to think, I know I can run my own business. I know how to do it. It's all about relationships. So I started my protection business, and that did phenomenally, more than more than I could ever dream being a kid from New Jersey. And while that's all going on, I serendipitously meet a woman named Shannon Penna and Ron Penna in the gym. And as we got to know each other, Shannon had offered me a couple of protein bars out of the blue, said, oh, I've been making these in my kitchen, literally in my kitchen. And Ron figured out how to commercialize it, making them a larger scale to sell. And I remember trying the bars, and I saw her a couple weeks later and said, they're phenomenal. The taste, the texture, the ingredients, wow. Because I grew up on some protein bars that were not that good. And that started our journey.
And that was Quest Nutrition.
Quest Nutrition,
Was
correct.
that Quest?
Yeah.
So this is so fascinating, and this moment is so great for the audience, how sometimes things that you are meant to do and actually turning point in your life can come from anywhere, any day.
Yeah.
Like you said, you met them at the gym. You just, universe sent you this blessing.
Yeah.
And you are so open for collaborations and working with other people, and you said yes. So when they
Well, it
offered you-
just
yeah.
evolved. I mean, what happened was they gave me these protein bars, and I saw her a week later and said, hey, by the way, I'm doing security for a celebrity at a celebrity golf tournament at Riviera Country Club. If you want to get me some product, I can give it to the publicity department and the host, the red carpet host. They were friends of mine. And I did that. And at the time, my person got some pictures and video, and everyone calls it content now. It was just for pictures and videos then. And I remember showing Shannon in the gym, and they're like, my God, how do you know these people? And there were some big names there. And then there was something about the excitement she let off, the energy she let off about making these bars by hand and what they were trying to accomplish. And I just started getting product in people's hands. On the set of Extra at Mario Lopez, because I did the security there, some of the Kardashian shows early on through the production company. And all I would say is, hey, Anna, my friends own this nutrition company. Maybe you'll enjoy it.
Just like you did now.
Yeah, and I didn't realize what happened. It just started evolving to about 9 months after me just helping them. Ron, Shannon's husband, who's our founder, basically took me to lunch and said, hey, he used these words. He said, we're stealing from you. You're bringing us all this value. All these celebrities are eating it. We're getting all these places, but we're not doing anything for you. And I remember it was kind of, everyone laughed. I said, I'm getting free protein bars. And he laughed, like you're laughing, because he said, you're worth way more than protein bars. And I thought it was like a good deal. I'm making good money in the protection business, but it became, I call it my why and purpose. I've been fortunate enough to have several whys and purposes in my life, and it became my why and purpose because we went from just giving out protein bars to people writing us blogs and art, and social media was brand new then. And they would say, hey, I lost 30 pounds as a go-to snack. I've got diabetes and my blood sugar doesn't spike. I've got celiac disease and I'm able to digest them. And all of a sudden, we went from being a protein bar company to really a mission-based company. Like you're changing people's lives. So we had true purpose.
That is true. So tell us, how do you, I know that you're really big on going to the gym, Gold's Gym, and all that culture of working, starting your day with a really effective workout. So can you share a little bit with the audience how fitness is a part of your life and gives you energy and makes you keep going so you can travel 40 weekends of the year? So how, tell us a little bit about the importance of fitness in your life.
I think for me, and I've been pretty fortunate, I've always been involved with sports when I was a kid. And in the Marine Corps, it's all about conditioning. You're either partying or you're working out. And I chose to work out and hung out with a core group of people. So even once we started Quest, it was just a morning routine. Like to me, I wake up and it's the gym. It's the first thing. And is it always fun? No, it's almost like, but I got to get it out of the way because I'm going to feel better about myself. And that's what, I know people have rituals and things, but that's been my thing. I feel like it's health benefits and that's just been, it's been my thing,
So every morning, the first thing you do is
go to the gym, yeah. I understand people have hot, do cold plunges and all these crazy things. I drink a bottle of water on the way to the gym and I work out. There's no pre-workout. I've never taken a pre-workout. But I just think it's part of my lifestyle. It makes me, it's probably a sanity check too, right?
Oh, no.
Yeah.
It just sets up your entire system, endorphins,
Yeah,
dopamine,
exactly.
serotonin. Oh, it's so big. I mean, Tony Robbins is really big on teaching how you use your body.
Yeah.
It really affects how you feel. And it's really true. That's what I do every morning. I would not be able to imagine my life without working out, running or cardio or yoga or whatever.
Yeah. And the 40 weekends a year just kind of happened because I use this word, and a lot of companies should be like this. We and I became obsessed with our customers, not our competition. Competition doesn't matter, but we were obsessed with our customers. And people would just constantly writing. And every time I'd see an email, oh, we have a CrossFit event here. We have a bodybuilding show here. We have a health fair here. I would look and say, well, that's next Saturday and Sunday. It just became every weekend the same thing. And the guys would joke sometimes because I'd always come in the office Monday morning, always. But sometimes I would land late on a Sunday night, like at midnight. And they would say, wait, we just saw on your Instagram you were in New York City for a bodybuilding show. I said, yeah, but that was yesterday. Now I'm back at the office today. So I created it's just a work environment, a culture that I wanted to be around. And it worked. I mean, people, they say things, a lot of famous people say, the best culture, the best employees are when they're not looking at their clock. All of a sudden, a lot of companies, 4 o'clock, I'm out. We would find ourselves 7 o'clock at night ordering food because we're still there working on stuff. And we didn't feel like, oh, I've got to go. I don't want to be here,
Well, that is one of the parts where I created a show to encourage our audience to find that a moment when they feel in the state of flow, when you don't feel time passing. So that means you're in your zone of your purpose. You don't feel like you're working. It feels like a play, and you can do it all day long. Yeah, so that's fortunate to live your purpose. I
am so fortunate. And I share that with people. Listen, not everyone has a why and purpose. Not everyone has even found their purpose. That's why I encourage people. I met them by mistake. I mean, I just met them, right? And it happened. But there's always opportunities. If you're not happy with your day job, think about that side hustle. Maybe you want to start creating content. Maybe you want to be a TV host. Maybe you want to create a cookie in your kitchen that could eventually be a Quest bar.
How did you start your speaking career?
So that happened. So we mastered all the bodybuilding events and CrossFit events. And I was invited to someone in Tony Robbins' camp was a fan of our bars. It might have been his wife's brother, someone in the family. And they reached out to us and said, hey, we really love your bars. So they invited me to one of his events, but I brought product for everybody. Imagine like 1,000 people in the audience. So they had a bar in every seat. And
what did you do? Unleash the Power Within or Business Mastery?
I went to six in a row.
Okay.
So I went all of them, Walking on Fire. And but so what happened was, as I was sitting at his events, I'm like, wait, this is our audience too. These people are entrepreneurs, intelligent, looking for better things in life. And then I got invited to more speaking events. And what happened was, after Tony's, I kept showing up at these speaking events, and I would always bring product, and they would always then give me an all access pass, and I'd be backstage talking to the likes of Ed Milet and Tim Grover and just you name it. And I'm meeting these people, successful women and men. And what happened over time, I would, end up sitting in the green room talking, and I tell them my story, and they go, wait, how come you're not on stage talking? Why are you back here giving out protein bars? But the saying about speaking in public, it's like number
one fear.
People would rather die. And I was that person. It wasn't until actually people like Andy and people I practiced here, and I got a speaking coach, and I'm never over it, but it's much better. And I finally stepped off the curb. Tim Grover, who's a very successful motivational coach, he kept running into me at these events, and he said, I know you keep talking about speaking, Bruce, but you got to get a gig. You got to get a gig. And I got a gig. And I spoke in front of like 600 people in Scottsdale.
That was your first speaking engagement?
I did a couple little ones, but that was the first real one. Big screens, it was pretty epic.
And what is the core message when you speak about on stages?
It's always bringing value to others with no expectation in return. I have no expectation. So when I started helping the Quest people, I was just getting protein bars in people's hands. I had no expectations. As a matter of fact, when I first visited their office, because they invited me out, it was in the city by Compton, in the ghetto, basically. And when I walked in, my first thought was, oh, they probably won't be in business in 6 months. It was just a rundown building. So my point is, I had no expectations at all. And it's hard for people to comprehend that. Like, when I do things for people, I have no expectations. Now, if it comes back, great. Just like when I give people product, I'm not that person, and we're not that brand that says, hey, if I send you product, please post. That's not authentic. What I actually tell people, you may not remember.
So true. If you could send a message to every person in the world, so you can send a message that everyone would receive on this planet, what would it say?
Add value to other people's lives.
None.
And there's no right or wrong reason. Even when I do some of these charities, and my friends will say, "Oh, I don't have a lot of money." I said, "You don't listen. You could donate time, energy, resources. Everyone does. It doesn't not. You don't have to help people by having money. You could sometimes just show up. Look at what's going on with this fire. People are just showing up. Hey, what can I do? Can I deliver water to the firemen? It's sometimes just showing up to bring value with you don't need money. If you have money, great. Of course, that helps facilitate things.
So interesting. Tony Robbins always says the secret to living is giving. He always insists on that.
Yeah, I'm a firm believer. I don't know how at the end of your journey. I mean, listen, I don't judge anyone for what they do, but I'm a firm believer about giving others. To have a complete.
It always comes back.
Yeah,
in different ways, and that is so true. So, what is your morning routine? How do you start your day?
I wake up the same exact time. At 6 a.m. I'm at the gym by 7 a.m. I told you I drink. I drink a bottle of water, a small bottle of water.
And how do you stay focused? Do you do any type of meditation or journaling, writing?
I have learned a little meditating is important because listen, I think we all have a little bit of that OCD or AC, whatever, that we get distracted. I just read something. Alex Hermosi said something about working like hard for like 20 minutes, focusing on something, and take like a 5-minute break because you start getting distracted. So I've been practicing that more. Okay, dig in like 15, 20 minutes, and if I have to take a break, great, or get a water or something. But I think people try and sit at their cubicle for 8 hours, and then you start.
So it's not effective. This is more effective.
Daydreaming, you get on your phone, you're checking social media. I have a task to do. I have to write a script. Okay, let me focus for 20 minutes straight and then take a walk or something, you know?
Is that how you also finished your book?
Yeah, for sure. Because when I first looked, I was like, I can't do this. I can't do this.
And so how did you, this is why I created a show. I created a show for people who wrote a book like 5 years ago, but they never published it. Or they started, but they never finished. But so how did you, when you said I can't do it, so how
Well, because I knew I had a story. It wasn't, I mean, thank God I had a publisher, but I told them my story, like we're talking, and it took about an hour and a half. And then they said, okay, and they told me what the chapters were, and I agreed because I was talking about lead with value, purpose, Marine Corps core values. And so we spelled out the chapters, and we just had to fill in the chapters.
Mm-hmm. So you literally break it down in smaller tasks?
Yeah, smaller tasks.
And you found help also?
Yeah, for sure. I asked for help. I mean, I think the worst thing is at the end of the journey to have people die with their dreams. If you have an idea for a book, write the book. If you have an idea to make a protein bar, make it.
So how would you, somebody out there who is uncertain about their life purpose, they don't know what their purpose is, what advice would you give them?
Keep looking, keep searching. Listen, everyone has that, I call it that boyhood dream or young girl dream of what you thought about when you were a kid, what you wanted to do, right? Maybe go back to that and say, oh, you want to be a nurse? Great. Well, right now I know you're working take a nursing course, right? You can eventually transition out of things. I think sometimes people feel as you get older and maybe you have children, they can't, oh my God, now I'm stuck. But maybe if they want to be a realtor, or they just want to start a side hustle, just start. You got to start somewhere, right? Something that you never thought would happen, right? But it can happen.
But you must start.
You have to start. The biggest thing is starting.
Yeah.
And I talk to so many people that I think they're locked into what they think is their job.
And did you have a specific moment or aha moment, or when you said, I want to write the book, and then you said, oh, I can't do it. Like, there's no way I can do it.
Yeah.
Did somebody give you a suggestion, or how did you come up with a strategy to hire the company to write it for you?
Well, several things happened. The speaking didn't happen because of self-doubt. I did not think I was worthy. I thought, who would want to, unless you're Tom Brady or someone, who's going to read my book? So I kept doubting myself. And then the same thing with the book. And the speaking went hand in hand. And then there's many people I've come across in this speak, Ben Newman and different people. And when I tell my story, they said, let me connect you with our publisher. I got on the phone with the publisher and told her my story. And she goes, oh my God, like you have a fabulous story. Why are you not sharing it with everyone? And then she put it this way. She goes, you owe it to the world. She goes, matter of fact, even if you don't hire me, because she's a business person, right? She goes, even if you don't hire me, do it on your own. That's how positive she was I should do it. Does that make sense?
Oh, absolutely.
Like she's a business person. She still says, do it on your own. Don't use me, but
tell your story.
Tell your story. So then, of course, I used her because she's amazing. But I think self-doubt has kept me from doing a lot of things. As many people, self-doubt causes a lot of this.
Mm-hmm. Why do you think that is? Why do people have so much self-doubt and they don't believe generally in themselves?
I think because they get validation from people that aren't the right kind of people to support them. What's the saying of the five people you spend the most time with? Are you encouraged to do what you want? Are people supporting you? I have encouraging people, but I also have the naysayers. It's interesting. I just say they. That's one of those they things, right? That some of your friends are not really your biggest supporters. As you succeed, I sometimes, even when I post things, I wonder, some of my best friends don't comment on my posts. But random strangers will say, oh my God, that was fascinating. Thank you for inspiring me. But then some of my close friends will be like, oh, you misspelled this word. Like they'll want to criticize me instead of saying, that was amazing what you did. They'll find a misspelling in a post. Then then their motives, I'm like, okay, well, I thought you were my best friend.
Yeah, they see only what's wrong.
Yeah, what's wrong.
Like Tony Robbins, you always find what you look for, right?
And to me, and it really is one of my journeys now, part of the book, I want to see people independently wealthy. I want to see people not worrying about their 401k or their retirement. And if that means, if I could help you start a side hustle and you get financial freedom and independence, that's kind of my high. That's better than drugs. For me.
Mm-hmm.
And
it is.
That's why I don't understand why I would want all my friends to be rich. So we could all do fun stuff. I don't get it. If you're doing well, I want to see your whole circle do well.
That is so wonderful. And then if you, I know that you support several charities.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about the charities you support.
My dad was, I didn't realize how charitably, when you're a kid, you don't realize these things, right? You don't really appreciate it, but he was our Boy Scout leader. He created a recycling program for the city, our town. He built this town hall. So it's kind of been in my DNA. And he used to bring kids into our house. I had nowhere to live when we were kids. Like kids would live with us. I was fortunate enough, even though we didn't have a lot of money. I mean, I had a backpack. I had stuff we needed. There's kids in LA that don't have a backpack. They don't even have like sneakers. So Trina's kids is great. We do a lot of back to school programs, holiday programs. I don't know, to me, I have this feeling that if you have the ability to give back, why not? I'm going to go back to this. It's time, energy, or money. You don't have to have each of those,
And then what drives you? Like what, you said also like value, leading value, giving back, adding value. But you always seem such a great energy.
Yeah.
You have such a great energy. And this is the thing that I wanted to ask you. How old were you when you met Shannon at the gym?
That's another
64. How old
no, that's like she's aging me, Andy. No, I was 46 when I met them.
46, and that is so brilliant because nobody cares how old.
Yeah.
It's never too late to start.
And I have one of my slides on my when I speak is one of those charts showing Sam Walton started late, Vera Wang, all these big names started their businesses in their 40s, 50s, and 60s and went on to be billionaires. To me, the age is not even an issue. If you have an idea, just start it. Start and give back. We sold Quest. Ron started Legendary about a year before with permission from the investors. And we're on trajectory to probably be the same as Quest in a few years.
Okay. One advice for the audience, if they would like to be an entrepreneur, start their own company, what advice would you give them?
Here's what's really cool. Unlike when I was younger, everything you could find is on YouTube and AI. Mm-hmm. You can ask them any question. You could say, I want to start being a realtor today. He'll spell it out. I want to be a physician's assistant. I want to be whatever I want to be. To me, I've never seen where, I see it now, kids are 17, 18 years old, multimillionaires because they're selling stuff on Amazon. They just repurpose things. They'll buy bulk and just resell it, on Amazon. Mm-hmm. It's the greatest time in the world to be wealthy. And the unique thing is everything is online now. There's nothing you can't find. So I encourage you, if you want to invest, it's online. You don't need to pay anyone to help. You don't need to pay any coaches. It's all free online. They could walk you through everything.
So it's easy to make it happen, right?
It's easy to make it happen. You just have to have the confidence to do it. And what's the worst case you fail? You have to go back and stay at mom's house till you recover.
Wonderful. Bruce, you're such an inspiration. We love you. I love your content on Instagram. You are so inspiring. You create so much every day and you add so much value to all of us. Thank you, Bruce, for coming today. It's such an honor to chat with you and learn some of your wisdom and your secrets. Thanks for being here, and we'll follow you definitely for more things coming. Thank you all for tuning in today. I hope that this conversation was inspired you in some way to really go out there and pursue your dreams and be encouraged that you can actually do anything that you want if you just start and keep doing little by little every day. So don't allow doubt and self-doubt, self-criticism, fear to stop you from taking action. You can really accomplish anything. Just start small and keep working on it day by day, and then one day you will just be on that destination and you don't even know how you did it because you've been working on it every day. So now I'm going to give you one actionable step. Grab your journal. It's time to take action. One of the first things that I learned on my own journey was the importance of living with purpose, with intention. Purpose is dynamic. It's uniquely personal. It's always evolving. It's an overarching intention by which you live your life every day. Conversely, a lack of purpose often is the main reason we lose sight of our goals or lose our connection to desired future. And so before continuing with our next steps, take some time to reflect on your purpose. I always encourage you to really start every day with intention. I find there is no better way to do this than to sit down with my journal and write. Here are some questions that you can journal about. Where in my life do I naturally feel inspiration, curiosity, wonder, and motivation? Where do I struggle to find a sense of meaning or direction? Am I practicing meditation and metacognition? Do I have a sense of mission or vision? If not, can I remember a time when I felt connected to a higher purpose? And the last, what would be a good mission statement for this moment in my life? It is very powerful to give words and to journal about the things we value and we are working on. Taking this time to reflect on what matters most to you is a great way to choose you every day. You must know your purpose so well that it feels visceral. It's not merely words, but something that feels deeply true and in embodied sense. Thanks so much for tuning in. I hope that you stay on that journey. Take action. Thinking and having the thoughts and having the vision helps. Feeling great helps, but you must take action every day, massive action in order to create the life that you want. Have an amazing, inspired week, full of focus, great work and inspiration, and I'll see you next time.